All right, today is the 29th of November, 2023. Time is 10:06 PST in the morning. And we are looking at EU, Euro, US dollar. And right now we're looking at my buy side drawings. On the left-hand side, we have the 1 hour chart. On the right-hand side, we have the 1 minute. And this is really what we've woken up to. Here's my sell side. Left is an hour, right is 1 minute. And right now I'm waiting for price to sort of get back into this kind of a range up here. I've got an alarm set, and until that moment happens, I figured this is a good time to really do a quick video on what I think is happening um, as far as price. So if we just back out real quick to the daily and just sort of zoom out and sort of give ourselves some perspective, have this daily initiation range that's pushed us down here, and then we've created a new daily um, initiation range that's pushing us again down. Okay, so we've had a daily initiation, we then had another daily initiation here, and right now we've mitigated that daily initiation and we're basically pushing down again. So I believe higher time frame with really lower prices. And I don't know if this is for sure the high. I've got this green box drawn, meaning we can actually accept more from it. The mitigation itself isn't actually the best. If you look at the mitigation, I would normally draw my cause sign above it, just having looked at it. So it could be that we're going to come up above that mitigate in somewhere in there and then push back down. Or it could be something completely different. The the thing is, though, I wouldn't really be expecting this green area to get any more mitigation because we've had potentially continuation structure. Here would have been the break of structure after this mitigation. So that concludes that this shouldn't really need to be retapped, is really how I've come to conclude it. So I'm not certain about how I feel with that and what we're actually doing. But the fact is we have created this daily block in here, and to push through a daily, you're gonna have to do something pretty massive and pretty major. So let's just drop down to, let's just do a 2 hour chart, because you can see we had these 4 hour initiation blocks as well, right? We've got 4 hour, 4 hour, and this one's just been taken out, wiped out. But in the process of wiping it out, it has potentially formed, excuse me, a 2 hour initiation. If this 2 hour initiation holds, break structure down here, get some continuation structure, then I think we're really set on this being the mitigation. All right. So that's what's happening. The interesting part about this as well is it's ended in a 5 minute initiation, which is typical for higher time frame mitigations. Also, if you look at what we've mitigated, higher time frame, lower, 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 right, with 4 mini lowers. So that's another reason. Really good, strong mitigation. Haven't seen one with that many mitigations in a while. So there's lots of good things potentially going for it. It's just whether or not this will hold or not, right? Whether or not we're actually going to pull down here. And we won't know until we really get down there. But having created a 5 minute gives me insight that we're actually shorting. So I'm definitely on a 5 minute basis. My bias is most certainly sells. Okay. And so here we are on the sell chart and now on the 1 minute. And so let's talk about it. So we had this, here's that 5 minute right here, the 5 minute sell. And as we've sold, I've noticed that we've had a high time frame and a lower time frame mitigation up here, which was extremely large, right? Which usually means dollar signs, or it means that this was a higher time frame mitigation. Straight after that, it was followed up by a really decent mitigation, H&L, higher time frame and lower time frame. Then we got back in up here as a remitigation after break of structure. And what happened here was this mitigation was actually trash. Again, it was just higher time frame and lower time frame, meaning cause, or it's a high time frame mitigation. Okay, but I'm putting cause up here because I'm not certain just yet which one it's going to be. Maybe this will be cause just for a future date. but then immediately after, it was followed up with a really, really nice, decent mitigation. Then price pulled down, again, a decent mitigation, again, a really, really decent mitigation, this time HLL. So we've got a really lovely, strong mitigation. And then that was really it, okay? Because here's the third L, by the way, if you want to see it. 1, 2, and 3. That's where we get the higher time frame, lower, lower. And so then we get this mitigation now, which is really bringing us to current price action. You know, what's happening here? So as you can see, my bias is, are we coming up here to take out liquidity? Or are we going to just keep pushing down even with those higher time frame mitigations? Now, this one here, this higher time frame mitigation, broke on itself down here, but hasn't broken continuation structure. Continuation structure is probably down here. So this green box is absolutely acceptable for a mitigation, a remitigation. We can totally come back in here, remitigate something, and then start creating some cell structure, in which case that's where I'd get in on. So what am I really thinking of right this exact second? This is the last known cell primary within this smaller one here. So for me, that would make it HNL, or HLL actually, if I can get a price to pull into this area, mitigate here, and give me some cell information. But I'm going to do it with caution, because the previous mitigation was a lower time frame, is large, meaning here, this one. So this is either a higher time frame mitigation, the one I've clicked right there, that's either higher time frame or it's stacked for cause. It's one of two things. But I never know these ones until we get confirmation. So there's that, right? So I'm going to use caution. Basically, I'm just going to get some confirmation. So even if we mitigate here, pull down, break through a transitional order block, I'm still not going to get involved. I'm going to wait until I get one more piece of confirmation, which would be like another return in, and then get through some transitional order block, confirming to me that, yeah, we've had a mitigation and we're likely pushing away. That is, excuse me, yawning. It is 10 o'clock in the morning. I should be awake, but and I am awake, but it's just a bit tired. So that's my outlook, my thought process on right now. And then why would I be targeting these lows? What do all these lows represent? Well, let's go to our buy side for that. Let's go to our low level buy side. So the first thing is, oops. So the first thing is, what did we mitigate? So when we pulled down here, what did we mitigate? And if we look left and follow the arrow, what we mitigated was an H only range. We didn't mitigate an H and L, okay? It's this one right here that we're playing right now that we've mitigated. Now we can't conclude that this higher time frame one is it because this has to form within something. And right now, or in this instance, it didn't. In this particular instance, nothing formed here and nothing formed outside of it. This was a good mitigation, right, on this one. This would have been a good sort of trade to take down here. But now we've come back into mitigating it again, remitigation. This is a bad range to take from a remitigation, because there is no H&L. See here, we had to actually create an H&L, like we did, well, we mitigated there in order to us to go long. And so that could happen again, but I don't think that is what's happening. I think this is more cause. So now we're down in this area here. We've mitigated this block. Move way back over. Mitigated the block is H only. And now we need to see, okay, so what we'd be doing if we were going to continue higher prices from here would be, we'd start to create an H&L. Let's go down low time frame here so we can all see it pop up. So there's the mitigation. We'd be coming in, creating H&Ls and high time frame, low time frame mitigations like we started seeing here, and then we'd start seeing prices initiate up. And what I've noticed is, yes, we had a shitty mitigation. Yes, we had one come in here and did H&L, two come in here and do H&L, and it still hasn't even broken out of its range. incidentally. So these two sort of, well, this one gets cancelled out in my opinion because it's just showing us that bistructure is happening when it was actually only one mitigation down there. And then we get this H and L, but the lower time frame is large. I doubt this is a higher time frame mitigation, so this is cause. And then as we see over here, we had this mitigation, which was an H and L. But it couldn't even break structure. Didn't even break structure. So it's not even primed for more to take more from this green. So this was always going to be a shitty one. Now this range here actually did go over the top of it. Okay, so I can get rid of this green bar now or block. And so we can see that what did we mitigate? This leg at the bottom here mitigated the same thing that this mitigated, which was H and L. Sorry, was it here? Let's see. Beg your pardon, it was the same thing that this mitigated, okay, this one right here, which is this cause. We've already identified this as cause and not higher time frame mitigation. Why is it not higher time frame mitigation? Because no matter what higher time frame you put, other than these 15 seconds, this doesn't work out to be, you can't get an H&L without having this time frame. If you go higher, if you go up to a minute, this is just an H only, and that's the reason this becomes cause right here, okay, and not a higher time frame mitigation. So this is cause, and then we've initiated away. What have we done as we've initiated away? We came back to do this one pullback in the whole thing, and what did it mitigate? Just a regular old range. This is nothing spectacular at all. This is not a primary range. There's nothing spectacular about it. So again, this is cause, create cause, liquidity, right? Liquidity, a reason to come down, putting prices down into these areas. So we've got 1, 2, 3 stack, right? So now it's about figuring out where could we take mitigation from. Now, if this is a large mitigation and the mitigation's going to hold, quite typically we could be thinking about it like this. This whole green block can actually accept the mitigation. And it's kind of like what's happening here, right? We could be saying, oh, look, they've just mitigated something. Let me just have a little look into this range right here, because this was an unexpected mitigation and it just occurred. Let's do it over 5 seconds because it looks so small. Let's see if it was any decent. If it was a primary, oh shit, looks like a primary. That could be that could be the mitigation. So we're now going to have to just have a little look. So we've got range. Where's our next break of structure? We've got another range here. Where's our next break of structure? Would have been here. And then price comes in over the top. Absolutely, 100%. This is a sell primary. This mitigation is now decent. I'm going to actually analyze this for us both, all of us here right now, for us both, and so we can see exactly what the hell's going on. So which range went over the top of this high? Okay, it was started at the bottom here and worked all the way up. This is looking like a really good mitigation, so I'm definitely interested in getting in. Now, now we got to see, was there any sort of reason to go from here? See, we could say we're a liquidity grab state, right? Pulls down into another liquidity grab state, initiates up into another liquidity grab state, and then we've got an initiation, a sell initiation coming from this range that's inside of this higher time frame. So this is looking really good, actually. Wasn't expecting that. So I'm going to put HL, is it HLL? We've got this higher time frame, lower time frame, lower time frame. So HLL, strong mitigation. So that was the cause right there. This is now a really rock solid mitigation. However, thinking about it, now I understand a little bit more about this mitigation. This was very lower time frame. And so now we can actually draw this like this, because now we understand things a bit differently. And so we were always able to accept a mitigation here. This would have been a good area to have actually just limit shorted. What I mean by that is just popped an order here, something like that, and shorted the market. you get the best entry that way. And why? Because it mitigated here, right? Went through a transitional order block here, and we'd be looking for it to break structure, right? To get a good break of structure. And as you can see, we got it right there as well. It's hard to see it with my, if I can keep moving my mouse, but you can see there the dotted line. This is actually a break of structure. So that is great. This ticks all the boxes, and this green to keep this green area active. And so that is why I'm annoyed at myself that I've missed it, because I could have had this trade live. Haven't got one just yet, but now I'm going to be looking for continuation sell structure. The one thing that I am noticing here is this little area right here. What the hell did that do? I mean, yes, it created a sell primary on the walk home, right? On its movement home. So you've got a range, initiation, break structure, comes back in. So it's created a sell primary, but what did it mitigate? I think that means two things here, right? Number one, it means that it's not actually mitigating anything, maybe an H only or something like that, mitigation. But I think this is actually likely to be an area that we come back to, right? Because they're going to want to come back up here to mitigate H and L. Since this lower time frame one didn't actually do it. It didn't do an H and L. It looks like it's just on a higher time frame. So I'm going to look into that right now. Let's see, what did you mitigate? Definitely nothing. Okay. So now it's really about this. So now we know we've got, let's just go to 15 seconds. We know we've got a range initiation. Did we break structure here? Yes, we did. So we've got liquidity over the top of this area here, which means that this is also a lower time frame sell primary. And so as we come back into this area like we did here, let's see what this represents to us. Now this could be low time frame is large because it is mitigating this range and this range. So this is, while it is HL, low time frame is large, or it's a higher time frame mitigation, whichever one. But with this stacked here above it that did really nothing, it came over the top of range. What was its purpose of being created for? So I'm going to set an alarm right here. I like that one a lot, and we're going to see what happens. Anytime we come back in as well, I'm going to be looking for potential entries. We've definitely got two here. So we've got this one and this one right here. So as we come back into this area, they should want to remitigate this area right here because it's now transitional. And so as they do come back bobbing up above it, we want to see what? We want to see a primary range created, which it has done here, mitigate both of them, initiate through the transitional, which is right at the bottom here, which it hasn't done just yet. And then that would be a potential continuation. However, because of this, I can't get involved. Because its low time frame is large, I cannot get involved. I have to wait. I have to wait for HL or HLL because they're the most high probability. These ones right here, you can't predict them. They're unpredictable. They're very, but they're like transitional order block mitigations. Very hard to know when they're about to break structure and whatnot. So this one just concerns me. That's why I'm not going to be like entering right now. For instance, if it does whip through this transitional here, let's say they pulled price down here, I'm still not going to enter. I have to wait for, like I said, price to get really into an area like this, which is H, L, L. Actually, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. So it'd be like that. So this would be, no, it wouldn't. It would be like that. HLLL. Higher time frame, lower, lower, with an initiation range. Absolutely beautiful. 1M. It's really my sentiment right now. Is I'd want in if we can get up into here and start selling off. So I'm going to keep an eye out. Maybe if I get an entry, I'll come back and update this video. But for right now, we're just going to hold. I'm holding. I like the mitigation. I like everything I'm seeing, and I think it's now time to come back up into this range and start selling off. And I think we're actually doing that because we've made this initiation range. So anyway, let me go see if I can get an entry. All right. Peace out, love, love. Aloha to anyone watching, and hope you're doing absolutely great, smashing it, crushing it, and living your best life. All right, peace out. Okay, so just a really quick addendum, just pounded through the range. So that's very interesting that would happen like that, because this I really was confident this was going to be the range. But great sitting on our hands, right? Absolutely nothing to worry about. And now we're just going to look at what have we mitigated, you know? It's the game we always play. What do we mitigate? May as well go down to a real low time frame, 5 seconds, see if we can identify it. Okay, what do we mitigate here? Absolutely nothing, right? Transitional. And so if this is either a high time frame mitigation or just a transitional. Now, here's something very, very interesting. Up here we have a lovely sell primary. These little candles here, range, initiation. Here's the structure on the bottom of this candle, takes it out, and then comes straight up over the top of it and initiates away. That is a sell primary on the lower time frame. This is exactly how they look on the lower time frame. They don't need to see how you don't need to represent movement. We can see that there's movement just by seeing that there were two candles back to back that look exactly the same. So we know that the price went up. There's no wick on these two. So that's a really good location to mitigate from. So I'll be very interested in this range now as my next range. And I'm not interested in this at all, like at all, not even the slightest little bit. In fact, I'm just going to say that this is cause. All right. So some really interesting price action. Followed this very closely all through this range. Had even a sell stop order. I'll show you exactly what I was thinking. The moment we got this touch here, I was thinking if you can pull through this range here, this little buy range, then I want in. And so I analyzed it, 2 pip stop, something like this, and I did a sell stop right here. Price at this point, and then price pulled down here. I thought we were going to get tagged. We didn't get tagged, and it shot up through the range. Okay, it's violating this green area as well. Which means to me that that's not the mitigation, right? So if you look at the green, what the green was representing, it was, let's just back out, make it look a little cleaner. So this green box here was representing this range, which is this one that we thought is the one we were playing off of. And in all fairness, it had a good chance to hold, and you definitely could have gotten some pips off of it, but it just wasn't meant to be. This wasn't the range that was meant to be. And now it comes back into my original range that I had planned from here that makes the most sense for this to be HLL, and just a really nice looking trade area. It's a good looking zone. So I'll be stalking this one like a hawk, and I'm also going to trade this with caution. So if we do get in here and get a tap, and then pull back through a transitional. Again, I'm not going to enter. I'm going to wait until I've got confirmation just one time, showing me some cell structure, and then I'll enter. So what does that mean? So if we come up right now, get the tap that I'm looking for, let's say the transitional is right here, shoots through the transition, I'm still not getting interested in it. I'm still not interested in it. It's not until we start getting back up here, most likely to mitigate this transitional, that's when I want to get involved. So somewhere between this low and this high is kind of where I will get involved, and it will require a transitional order block being taken out for me to get in. This stop point right here, I'm not interested in whatsoever. This is low time frame is large. Again, this would need massive proof. Maybe we need to sort of see something happen, but interesting. What was also interesting is the initiation range that was occurring, right? So we had this buy primary that turned into a sell primary, closed on itself. So we're really, really, really stalking this area and this area like we've never before stalked one, really, because we had full confidence this is going to push down from here. Meanwhile, on the buy side, we're mitigating things that are good for us. A transitional order block, sell primary. Here it is. Here's the sell primary that it mitigated. Draw it on there. All right. Why is it a sell primary? Well, if you look at this low here and this high here, we could just say that's a range, initiation, break of structure. What does that do? It stacks money up above here, and then we went over the top of it to create the sell primary. And that is why it's a sell primary range. And so that is what we've mitigated. If you look through all the bars, look through over here, that is the range that we're touching and tapping into. What does that do? It's transitional order blocks. It can cause a break in structure, but they're also there to support the primary range that you mitigated. So in this instance, it was a sell mitigation, which means it's there to support sell prices, which means there's a dollar sign below it, which means that this liquidity it's a liquidity build. It's absolutely impossible to predict when that low is going to come in. Typically, after these lows, we start seeing some sort of buying structure, and that is most certainly not occurring. Oh, actually, I say that this is a higher time frame, large mitigation right here. Did we get above here? Yeah, so they're playing off of two higher time frame ranges, this mitigation again. So again, this buy and this buy here, you can't get involved, in my opinion. There's no way of predicting that these are the stopping points. And so it's for that reason, I think all of this is fabrication. I think all of this is really, really soon to be cause. Yes, we can keep initiating and get up into these ranges, but when we've got the whole thing, I mean, like when this is all fabrication, this is all fabrication, this is all fabrication, this is all fabrication, meaning dollars everywhere. What does that tell us? It just tells us that they're likely to come back for it sooner than later. There's so much of it. It's the exact position we want to be in. We want to see one side strong and one side weak. Here we are jumping into that range. I'm going to stop my video, see if I can get an entry or watch it like a hawk, and then we'll see in the moment what happens. All right, peace out. All right, so I did manage to catch a trade. We're running short right now. And here's what happened. Let's talk about it. Okay, so on this lower time frame, we were very interested in these levels here, pushed through them. We were able to save our bacon really by monitoring and understanding everything, all the mitigations, but just not getting any cell continuation structure. And so we waited. I wasn't really interested in this mitigation here, this green area here, because it's HL with the low time frame being large. Then it's hard to see with my drawings. Just turn them off for a second. But then price comes right up to the top here and makes an equal high with this one. Well, if you look at what I had written over in this one, HLL, right, with a small green area. So I was really looking for price to sort of come into that area and mitigate sort of a little bit higher than it really, rather than equal highs. But equal highs to me is also a liquidity grab. That's how I understand things. And so I was willing to start looking for cell structure. And that's when, on the 15 seconds, I was able to see that we had created this cell primary inside of it as well, along with this one and then this one, right? And so what happened was price came down, broke the low, only just, but it did break the low, only just, and then came immediately back up. As it came back up, it came to mitigate something. What was it mitigating? It was mitigating number one, number two, and this higher time frame here, number three. So it was higher time frame, lower time frame, lower time frame, right? And then all I do is wait for it to go through the transitional order block. In this instance, there was none. I didn't have a transitional order block. So I just placed my order right here, okay? Monitored it for 2 pips, right, covered right at the high. So it was like a beautiful sort of setup as far as like with my 2-pip stop. And I entered not on a sell stop, but on a limit order. So price had already blown through and was sort of down here, and I had my limit order placed here. And then I just entered, got in. This mitigation here is horrible, and it's stacked cores, which worried me for a little bit, but then we just melted away. And we are continuing to push down. Well, so it seems. We're not obviously not sure until we get down there, but we got this stopping point right here. And if I just jump to our buy side, you can see that what it mitigated was an HL. Here's the higher time frame. Here's the lower time frame. But the lower time frame is large, And so I believe actually this is H only, which means for me it's just a cause sort of thing. We then created this biprimary in here, but again, it hasn't really mitigated sort of a double area, in my opinion. So this is all, so this would have been H only, is what I would have written here. And so this is sort of all cause, I believe. I believe this is just stacked cause. Then one other interesting thing that's just recently happened is we came up to this area and mitigated something. Well, what do we mitigate? If we pull our arrow tool across, we can see we've mitigated absolutely nothing in here. It's just dead air. Down here, we may have mitigated the bottom of this range, which was a biprimary, very, very, very weak. And actually, it wasn't a biprimary because this candle never even went below the low of the last one. So this wasn't a pullback in my eyes. So that was nothing. It mitigated there. Nothing, nothing, nothing. But then if you look what we actually mitigate here, HLL, and if we just go all the way over, you can see it's a beautiful sell primary over here. And so what was important about that, to me, is that it was a sell primary, a transitional order block sell primary. So we've come up here. Yes, we've stacked cores. Yes, 100%. Transitional order blocks always, always, always eventually get taken, but they can cause breaks of structure, and you never know when you're going to have one. So for me, just to see it, so see the mitigation, wait for it to break through a transitional order block, and then I was able to identify what we just mitigated. It looks like a sell primary, so it's there to support this mitigation. Here is to support the lower of prices. Whereas if we look on the buy side of things, we've got this stuff going down here, which is all to support lower prices as well. It's to build liquidity in the market space. And so that's what I've identified. Let's see if it works out or not. Absolutely no idea whether it will or won't, but I believe I've set myself up for a good trade. So that's it for today. We're looking for it to get down here. But yeah, there'll be no more videos. This will be the last one. And yeah, love, peace out. Hope everyone's smashing it, crushing it, having a fun time trading. It's late in the day now. It's 12:11. So we could probably just end up ranging in here for a little bit. Spread hours might kick in. Or my preference would be for a further initiation down into this zone and take me out for 10 hour. All right, peace out. Catch you on the next one.